What if the smallest Mac Apple makes is about to become one of the most powerful ones you can buy? Not flashy, not loud, just quietly unstoppable. That's exactly what's happening with the Mac Mini M5. Apple hasn't said a word officially, but leaks and supply chain whispers are painting a very clear picture. The 2026 Mac Mini is not here to reinvent the design. It's here to redefine performance in a tiny box. And once you understand what Apple is planning, this might be the Mac that makes the most sense for more people than ever before. Apple's Mac Mini has always played a strange role in the lineup. It's never been the star of the show. No dramatic redesigns every year. No massive keynote hype. But quietly, generation after generation, it has become one of Apple's smartest machines. And with the move to Apple Silicon, the Mac Mini changed from entry Mac to serious computer almost overnight. Now, with the upcoming M5 and M5 Pro chips, Apple looks ready to push that idea even further. According to current leaks, the Mac Mini M5 is shaping up to be a performance-focused update. This is not about looks. This is not about ports. This is about raw power, efficiency, and long-term value. Apple is expected to keep the exact same chassis that was redesigned at the end of 2024. And honestly, that makes sense. After nearly 15 years, Apple finally refreshed the Mac Mini design with the M4 generation. It was cleaner, more compact, more modern. Apple does not redesign products like that just to touch them again 2 years later. So if you're hoping for a new shape or a flashy exterior, this is not that update. But if you care about what's inside, this is where things get interesting. The biggest upgrade, obviously, is the chip. The base model will move from M4 to M5. On paper, the CPU gains don't look crazy. Leaks suggest around a 10 to 15% increase in CPU performance compared to M4. That might not sound huge, but Apple Silicon improvements are rarely about raw numbers alone. They're about efficiency, sustained performance, and real-world speed. The GPU side is where things get more exciting. Even though the M5 is expected to keep a 10-core GPU layout, leaks point to a completely refined architecture, better memory handling, improved AI acceleration, smarter task scheduling. Because of that, GPU performance could jump by as much as 40 to 45% in real-world tasks. That's a massive gain without increasing core count. For creatives, developers, and even casual users who rely on smooth UI performance, this matters. Video scrubbing, photo exports, Xcode builds, even simple multitasking. All of it benefits from a stronger GPU. But the real monster in this lineup is the Mac Mini M5 Pro. Leaks suggest Apple will once again offer two versions of the M5 Pro, a bin version and a full version. The binned M5 Pro is expected to feature 14 CPU cores, 4 efficiency cores, and 10 performance cores. The unbinned version could go all the way up to 16 CPU cores, with 4 efficiency cores and 12 performance cores. That level of CPU density in a machine this small is honestly wild. Think about it. This is a box you can hold with one hand. No screen, no battery, no fans screaming like a jet engine. Yet it could deliver workstation-level CPU performance that, just a few years ago, required massive desktop towers. This is where the Mac Mini stops being a mini computer and becomes a serious tool. For developers running heavy workloads. For video editors who don't need portability. For people who want Mac Studio-level power but don't want to pay Mac Studio prices. Memory is also expected to scale up in a very Apple-like way. For the M5 Pro Mac Mini, leaks suggest RAM could start at 24 gigabytes and go up to 48 gigabytes or even 64 gigabytes. That's unified memory. Fast. Share between CPU and GPU. Perfect for AI workloads, large timelines, and multitasking. Storage options are expected to range from 512 gigabytes all the way up to 4 terabytes. And yes, Apple storage pricing will still hurt. That part hasn't changed, but the flexibility is there. To understand why this matters, you need to look at what Apple did with the M4 Mac Mini. At the end of 2024, Apple surprised almost everyone. They redesigned the Mac Mini and shipped it with a full, non-binned M4 chip, not a cut-down version. a full 10-core CPU, 6 efficiency cores for performance cores, and a 10-core GPU. On top of that, Apple made 16 gigabytes of unified memory standard. That alone was shock. Ingenieur. Apple rarely does that at the entry level. Yet they did. The only weak point was storage. The base 256 gigabytes felt small in 2024, but at a starting price of $599, the value was undeniable. Once discounts hit, that Mac Mini dropped closer to $499 in many markets. At that price, it became one of the best computers Apple has ever sold. That history explains Apple's strategy for the M5 Mac Mini. They don't need to change the design. They don't need to reinvent the product. They just need to make it faster and keep the price aggressive. Leaks suggest the base M5 Mac Mini will keep similar memory tiers, likely starting at 16 gigabytes, then 24 gigabytes, and 32 gigabytes. Storage is the big question mark. There's hope that Apple will finally move the base storage from 256 gigabytes to 512 gigabytes. It would make sense in 2026, but nothing is confirmed yet. Even if Apple keeps 256 gigabytes, the performance gains alone could justify the update for many users. Now, let's talk about timing. According to multiple sources, Apple is targeting WWDC 2026 for the announcement. WWDC usually happens in the first full week of June. Apple likes to announce Macs there when they want to position them as tools for developers and professionals. That lines up perfectly with what the M5 Mac Mini represents. If the announcement happens at WWDC, availability is expected about a week later. That would put the release around mid-June 2026. This fits Apple's recent launch patterns almost perfectly. Pricing is where Apple's confidence really shows. Leaks suggest Apple will keep the base M5 Mac Mini at $599. No increase. No surprise bump. Just the same price with better performance. The M5 Pro Mac Mini is expected to start around $1,399. That price might sound high until you compare it to what you're getting. A compact desktop with up to a 16-core CPU, powerful GPU performance, massive unified memory options, and Apple's efficiency advantage. Compared to a Mac Studio or a similarly spec'd PC, it starts to look very reasonable. Now here's my honest opinion. If these leaks are accurate, the Mac Mini M5 could be one of the smartest Macs Apple releases in years. Not because it's exciting, not because it looks new, but because it delivers exactly what most people actually need. Power without bulk, performance without noise, longevity without insane pricing. For students, it's a long-term investment. For creators, it's a compact workhorse. For developers, it's a serious machine that fits anywhere. And for everyday users, it's more power than they'll need for years. Apple is clearly betting that people don't need flashy redesigns anymore. They need reliable performance. They need efficiency. They need value that lasts. And the Mac Mini M5 looks like it delivers all three. If Apple sticks the landing, this could quietly become the most recommended Mac of 2026. If you like the video, subscribe, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next leak.